as we are loading into our next series. And, Knight, who is that? And why do they not use their proper name?
Because that's what most players do.
SMH. But anyway, we are here on 2000 Atmospheres LE, as we are looking at the base of the Yellow Terran, who does not represent any clan in-game at the very least. But he is from Team Super. It is Dolan.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the madman himself. In a way, disrespecting Protoss in the last game, but here he is up against a much stronger opponent. It is the Blue Zerg player. It is CalebAracous.
Yeah, I have to say that when I see Zergs doing stuff like that, I feel like they're just like, you know, they're venting their pent-up frustration of playing versus Skytos for months.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yo, that's why Scarlet, Jim Rising, you know, they off races Protoss whenever they can. it can be quite therapeutic, I guess. But it is now no longer time for fun. Now we get serious because Dolan made it all the way to a qualifying match in qualifier number 1. He's one of the stronger NA Terrans, and Caleb, he's gotta, you know, take this a little bit more seriously.
Take the CV, I dare you.
Oh god, so the problem with taking an SCV is that it takes a very long time because it's the easiest to do it with Protoss because you just have to start the Nexus and that's it. For the SCV, you have to chain control them and keep the SCV building the CC for a very extended period of time.
Yeah, it's especially difficult with Terran. With Protoss, like, you just set it up and then you can free up the Pro, but with Terran, you actually have to keep it going, so
yeah.
I don't think we're gonna see anything like that here. I'm still hoping for another match with the PvZ.
We'll see, Kuro, we'll see. Oh god, so far the openers are pretty standard here from Caleb, going for that third hatchery at a regular time. Unfortunately, Dolan wasn't able to deny it, not able to get close. But again, it's kind of what we expect here at this level as he tries to get a drone. Oh, almost does.
Yeah, very nice defense with the Spore though. And the drone is safe for now.
Oh boy. Yeah, the drone is kept safe. Once again, Dolan is trying to dip in. I'm sure he wants to get the tumor. He wants it so bad. Up!
Yes. But he's not gonna get it, as the Zerglings do chase the Reaper away. And yeah, everything is gonna just proceed as normal.
Yeah, meanwhile, back at home, we do have a very interesting opener. He is not going for a third CC before Starport, so not your standard economic opener. Instead, going for a 1-1-1.
Yeah, the more, I don't want to say old school, but like more previously common, just 1-1-1.
Yeah, it's a little bit more out of fashion. Not the most. It's not like a weird build or anything. It's just, you know, your third CC builds have become very popular as of late. And instead, he's going for a bit of a swap and going for, that tech lab on the Starport.
Banshees? Liberator? What?
Interesting.
What? Is this just to, like, trick the scout?
I mean, we'll see, because one thing I have to take note of is that Caleb has a very smart scout going on right now. He's going behind the natural base, and he's going to go into that main. So even if he sees this, there may be some alarm bells, like, oh my god, is this like a fusion core? But he should be able to see the entire base and confirm that there is no fusion core.
Yeah, indeed. Interesting choice by Dolan to put it that way.
Yeah, the Overlord sneaks into that main base, confirms the scout, confirms that there is nothing being researched, and even sees the Liberator as it pops.
Yeah, so definitely that mind game did not work out. It's immediately just switching it off.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just to trick the scouting Overlord.
But Caleb is too smart for that. He again confirms everything, even sees that Stim is being researched as well, so he knows 100% that it is going to be Bio.
That he does, but now he has to worry about the Liberator that's coming to his base while the Hellions are looking for something at the front.
Yeah, exactly. We already have a Spore here, so the Spore is just going to have to reposition. Hopefully not all the Queens come over into the main base as well, as Caleb does take notice, but he will lose one drone.
One drone is not the worst, but he has to defend against these Hellions as well as they just roll into the natural.
Yeah, exactly. The Lings and the Queens were at the third base, not at the natural. The mineral line is being absolutely roasted. 10 drones already going down.
Yeah, and there's so many Hellions. They're just going up the ramp. And why the Liberator is still sieging it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Caleb, he's being pulled apart. He doesn't have the attention span to reposition that Spore and to defend his main base at the same time. And this Kuro is game-ending damage.
Yeah, 22 workers down so far, and the Hellions are still alive, so there's maybe more.
Ugh.
23 drones at the end go down. But funnily enough, that brings them even.
Yeah, 23 drones is pretty brutal. You know, any kind of economic advantage that Caleb had earlier is completely gone. Dolan has the SCV lead. He has his third CC that he's landing on location. So it's a really rough position to be in as a Zerg player, being behind in the economy.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, Dolan is now free to take his third base as Caleb has to remake all that he lost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thankfully, you know, 1-1 is on the way, and he does have a lair as well. Like, he's not fully behind when it comes to the tech, but I'm sure at this point, he would have ideally already had a fourth base. You know, he would already be fully saturated on 3 bases as well, already droned up at like 66 and now working on his army. So he has a lot to really catch up to, and the next big push from Dolan is gonna hit pretty hard.
That it will, because even though like they're fairly close in workers and Caleb can make up the difference, like making workers means he's not making the army and he may just not have it like ready in time.
Yeah, exactly. Fourth base is now on the way, only just now starting. The Baneling is about to finish up as well, and we should be seeing Baneling speed as soon as possible, but here comes a bit of a double drop.
Yeah. There are no Banelings yet. There are 7 being morphed, so at least there will be something, but as there will be slow Banes, they probably won't do much damage.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how good the splits are for Dolan. If there's like, there could be like maybe some miracle connections here as the Banelings roll on board, and ooh, they do get a decent connection.
Yeah, 1 full medivac like of Marines just disappears to the Baneling, so a bit of a, I don't know if I want to call it miss micro, but a little too close, too risky for Dolan there, but he didn't lose everything.
Yeah, losing half his Marines is honestly pretty huge. Like, yo, Caleb, like, being able to defend like that with those Banelings, finally we see some focus fire, by the way, from Dolan. Like, this is the beginning of a comeback.
And now there's so much Link Bane that this drop actually can't do any damage, despite the Banelings not having speed yet.
Yeah, exactly. Speed is about to finish up though. Hydra Den is done. Fourth base is getting up and running here for Caleb. So again, tech-wise, you know, he is keeping up with his opponents. But I do really worry for the next big push, because what we just saw was a skirmish with a drop. You know, here comes the actual army.
Yeah, here comes the army, the Marines, the tanks, everything. And now it's just Queens and the Link Bane. And I'm not sure there is enough Link Bane.
We'll see. I mean, we have a decent amount of Banelings here towards the third base. It looks like Caleb is going to try and go for a big surround, maybe get on top of the tanks, but the tanks, they're sieging up.
Yeah, well, the Queens may actually catch one of them, but the rest will attack from the back, and now the Banelings can roll into the Marines, but they roll off creep, and they don't do any damage.
Yeah, exactly. The tanks go down, but there is literally nothing to stop these Marines. Banelings are being morphed in, but Dolan knows what to do. He's diving on top of the Banelings.
The Zerglings will delay him a little bit, but he still may be able to get it, and he just goes forward.
Yeah, exactly. He knows his win condition. He denies every single Baneling from being morphed in, and now there are only Lings to stop him. The Marines are a little bit overstimmed, but well played gets called. Dolan takes game number 1.
GG to Dolan. Very, very strong game, number 1. So I love the reactions in the chat where Sugar is just like, rip Caleb, and so it's like, no, he's still briefing, he's alright, he can do it.
Again, like, losing that many drones in the beginning, you cannot afford to do that at the highest level of play. You make a mistake like that, your opponent will punish you for it.
Yeah, the earlier in the game it is, the worse it gets. Like the bigger the disparity gets between the economies of both players.
Yeah.
And even though he did get a nice defense on the drop, like as we said, he defended the drop, but what about the rest of the army?
Yeah, you know, it wasn't the most significant thing for him to deal with those handful of Marines. Aye. GG, well played, very well executed there by Dolan. Caleb, he's gonna have to tighten up a little bit more here if he wants to take down a player of the caliber of the Dolan Duck.
He will need to make more investors. Is that allowed? Can you? Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna have to. Oh god. Oh god. What if he is player?
I'm actually gonna see if I can check that.
Oh god.
I guess TM the guy. Yeah, we just need to confirm
Yeah.
that everything is correct.
Is Cat's a caster? Yeah, if he, yeah.
Yeah, for guys who are watching the stream, to be able to cast these qualifiers, you do have to be approved by the ESL. You have to send.
Can you
send an application.
Can you send message, please message Ice Guards. Can you PM Cats? Let him know.
Oh, did you talk to him?
Ascar PM'd me. Let's message him, por favor. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Alright, let's go.
Yeah, so once again, if a person wants to cast these qualifiers, like, you do have to apply for ESL, so they can make sure that only the approved casters are in the lobbies. And this is nothing against like a specific person. It's more like to make sure that nobody like unknown doesn't join the lobbies. You know,
Yeah.
like there are like issues like with like betting people and stuff. Like there are many different problems that can arise when people are just freely able to join lobbies.
Yeah. I hope Paolo doesn't take it personally, because he did seem a little bit upset there, but oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, we had similar situation with Jim Rising before, where he also
Yeah.
wanted to stream this kind of events, but like, it's like a precaution to make sure nothing bad like happens. So the ESL admins need like the links to the accounts of everybody who's casting and so on and so forth. But we're not talking about that anymore, because we have a game to cast, and we are now on Glittering Ashes LE, where Roombas are exploding. Looking at the base of the yellow Terran player, representing Team Super, it is Dolan.
And spawning in the top right hand corner of Glittering Ashes ALE, we have the American Zerg player himself. He is blue, representing himself. It is CalebAracous. Oh boy. So we are getting into game number 2, and yeah, again, game 1 was a little bit rough. It was kind of, in a way, over before it started. You know, Dolan, he came in with a plan. He went in with his multi-pronged attack of the Liberator and all those Hellions, and yeah, Caleb fell apart a little bit there in the defense.
Yeah, even though like his mind game didn't necessarily work, as he tried to like pretend that he's making something else than the Liberator, but like the attack itself turned out to be just enough.
Yeah. Aye. So hopefully, again, Caleb can tighten things up here in game number 2. We'll see. as we are getting into the game, and because this is a bit of a larger map, I do kind of expect Dolan to maybe go for something a little bit more economic focused, right? Going for that third CC before Starport. But at the same time, like, if he recognizes weakness in Caleb, if he recognizes, hey, you know, Caleb may not be as active as he once was, you know, if I go for these aggressive styles, then he can, you know, I know that he can maybe struggle to defend it.
Oh yeah, like multitasking is probably the most difficult skill to retain, I guess, because you really need to train that attention span. That Overlord really can't get a break. It's like really trying to hide.
Oh boy.
It succeeds.
Yeah. he's chilling. He's here outside the natural. Barely alive, but unfortunately this Marine is going to be denying him entry into the main base. Caleb is going to have a bit of a hard time scouting, especially compared to the previous game.
Yeah, there's no backup Overlord on the back of the base this time. And even the barracks are floating over to make sure this Overlord gets a completely nothing.
Oh god, the Overlord is gonna get taken down here. Aye. So no scouting whatsoever here from Caleb, and here in the main base we see another 1-1-1.
Yeah, once again without the third CC, just very straightforward 1-1-1. I'm not sure if it's good how long the barracks were away, but hey, it works out because he's not even planning to use them.
Yeah, I kind of like this. You know, we see the fusion core on the way, soon to be a tech lab on the Starport. We are going to be seeing some BCs here. And again, this is kind of rough here for Caleb because it's pretty important for him to see this. Oh god.
Do you think it's also like part of the mind game? It's like, oh, you thought it will be BC's last game, but it wasn't, so this time it will be.
Yeah, I have to wonder if it's a little bit of a tell as well that the Rax was lifted and obviously wasn't producing anything. Especially because like BC openers are very common when going into mech. So that all could kind of be a little bit to tip Caleb off. But I just don't know if it's enough.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you see these barracks floating, you're like, okay, so you're not producing anything, so it's most likely mech or something, but it doesn't matter because the Hellions are already in the base.
Oh yeah, the Hellions, they do slip into the base. They are able to shave off every single one of those things, and oh my god, they just go straight for the main!
Yeah, they just go for the drones. The Queens just can't keep up with them. The drones are split up, but just not enough not to get damage done, as 10 drones are falling down.
Yeah, exactly. 10 drones do fall, and I mean, again, this wasn't even the like phase 1 of the plan. Here comes the BC next, and there we go. There are the factories.
Yeah. And will the BC teleport, or will it slowly float away? I guess we will find out soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's important to take note of is that we don't see Yamato on the way, so I don't know if we're going to see more than one of these BCs. We'll see. When you do go mech, ideally you do have a couple of BCs as well.
I thought he's gonna reveal that BC as the Zegs were attacking, but nope, he's just gonna go straight for the base.
Yeah. This may be it. Like 3 more drones go down. No mining here at the natural base. There are a lot of queens and they will be able to force this away. But again, this BC is being so pesky, and we do see continued BC production as well. Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, even on creep, queens take a while to run to the other base, so 5 more drones fall down. The BC does take a lot of damage, but it stays alive, so it can just be repaired.
Yeah. Oh god. It will be able to sneak all the way back home, get repaired, even denies a couple of creep tumors on the way, just for good measure. Yamato is in production as well, and I mean, to be fair, at least Caleb, I think he's aware of what's happening. You know, he did throw down a Roach Warren. Roaches are on the way, and that will help against the Hellions. But hopefully he's going to have roaches because of all these drone kills, he's had to spend his larva rebuilding all these drones.
Yes, indeed. And he's working on Spire, in fact, behind this. So, do you think he's just going to get Corruptors for the BCs?
I mean, ideally, yes, because Corruptors are a great way to really shut down those BCs. If you want, and if you have a decent bank, you can go into Mass Muta instead, but it is a little bit riskier, right? Because you're hoping to catch the BCs off guard and then keep going and deal some economic damage. Yeah, it can be really scary trying to do that.
By the way, Dolan is supply blocked, so his BCs are actually stuck in the production.
No, the BCs. Okay, well the supply depots are going to finish up, and those two BCs are getting across the map once again. Thankfully, again, we have plenty of queens to help defend. The Spire is about to finish up, so this shouldn't really get too much done, especially because Yamato still isn't quite finished, but it will finish soon.
Yeah, looks like Dolan is using them for cleaning creep so far, just preparing the stage, and he may go in, but there are so many queens here at the front. Well, targeting a few with Yamato, definitely thinning the head helps a bit, but the Corruptors will be here soon.
Oh yeah, the Corruptors, they are on the way. Oh, we do have some transfuses, but oh my god, the high energy queen gets taken down, and these BCs, they're getting out of control.
Yeah, now the queens are falling down. Almost all of them are down now. Only 4 are left, and 2 more are in the production, but the BCs can now deal damage.
Yeah, and bearing in mind they did waddle across the map, so they can teleport all the way back home. At the same time, Hellions going to be hitting the third base. Again, there were barely any roaches. A lot of the queens were already dealt with. The Hellions, they're just going to go to town.
Yeah, even with the roaches trying to stop them, the Hellions just pass them by and kill even more drones. 10 drones once again going down.
Yeah, exactly. And behind this, we do have a more solid foundation for the mech army. Tanks are on the way. Right now, Caleb, he's struggling to deal with all the harassment. Let's not even talk about this main army.
Yeah. Oh, the Corruptors are trying to see if they can get anything done, but I mean, I feel like at this point they're more of a scouting force here.
Oh, I mean, they're trying to hunt down the BC. Oh, can they find it? Can they get the BC? Ah!
They do get it, which is nice,
Oh!
but... Oh, they get 2. Very nicely done. And most of them survive.
Exactly. Dolan, he was taking a little bit too long to repair his BCs despite the fact that they were back at home. So nice moves here by Caleb. This is the start of, actually trading efficiently, getting a little bit of a comeback. Only a single BC remaining.
Yeah, it was very nicely done by Caleb. It was risky as he just flew straight into the base, but he did get 2 BCs, so very nicely done.
Yeah, exactly. There is still 1 BC remaining, but again, we have enough Corruptors to help deal with that. Hopefully, Caleb doesn't throw away these Corruptors a little bit too prematurely. If he does, that will kind of signal to Dolan to start rebuilding BCs.
I like Asher Bros' reaction to Mech in the chat.
It's Mech. He knows.
Yep.
Look, we all know ZV Mech unwinnable, mate. Unwinnable. Oh god. Yeah. I mean, thankfully, Caleb, now there isn't too much harass going on his side of the map. He can start to rebuild. I mean, the Hellions are back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not too much harass, but firstly we have the Hellions. Secondly, there is Blue Flame on the way, so these Hellions will be even more effective afterwards. So I'm very scared for Caleb's mineral lines.
Yeah, especially because the BC has made his way back across the map once again. Corruptors, unfortunately, were out of position. They were all the way on Dolan's side of the map instead, so the BC is going to get 2 more queens.
Yeah, 2 more queens. I think they sniped the Ravager as well. And now the Corruptors are here.
Yeah, but the BC can always teleport. Oh god, teleport. Oh, it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little bit too close there, Dolan, and he loses that last BC. So I guess he's just gonna switch to straight up Grand Mech now.
Yeah, this does mean that for the time being, the Corruptors don't really have too much to do. They can try and Caustic Spray down one of these, I almost said Nexuses, but one of these CCs, but there are Cyclones to stop that from happening. Thankfully, though, if Caleb keeps these alive, Hive is on the way, and we could see a Greater Spire. We could see a transition into Broodlords.
Yeah, we could. So I was gonna say, you see Nexus is how you won that previous game, don't you?
Oh god, don't remind me, Kuro, don't remind me. Oh god, Caleb is trying to get in position, and honestly, now is not a bad moment. A lot of these tanks were a little bit late. They were a little bit out of position trying to relocate.
Yeah, but I mean, Dolan does lose quite a few of them, but he does keep this position, and once again, with the Blue Flame Hellions, this Link Bay is not as scary as it was before.
Oh boy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's still like a decent shot here for Caleb. You know, he's close to maxing out. Like he's got a decent supply to work with as well. It feels like there isn't a lot to help protect and help buffer for these tanks.
Yeah, actually, this army is getting really small. Like the tanks are almost left alone, and now the Zerg comes in. The spread is good, I think.
The spread is decent. At the same time, there is a bailing run by over on the third base. Meanwhile, all the Hellions and Cyclones are zoned out. The CC, the Planetary, goes down.
Wow, very nicely done by Caleb. And 17 workers total go down as well. So yeah, actually really nicely done. And Caleb is so much more ahead now in workers.
Yeah. He's been able to weather the storm of the early game. You know, he's at a healthy 81 drone count. His upgrades 3-3 are on the way. Interesting that he's prioritizing +1 carapace instead of a greater spire. An interesting choice. Again, there's not really too much going on in the air. But again, at some point, I'm sure he would want to go there in that direction.
Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, I guess he focuses on the ground army for now, as that is what is dealing damage right now. And once again, there are only 3 tanks siege now. 2 more down. 3 more, sorry. And if he catches Dolan at the right moment, he may take it.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, a lot of the tanks are a little bit too far behind, so they're honestly not adding that much DPS against this army. The piles are connecting with the CC. We do see it lift up though. It looks like it may survive.
Yeah, the Biles are focusing on the army, so the CC will survive for now, but once again, this position is contested.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Dolan is having a really hard time keeping the space up and running. His tank count is getting lower and lower. Like, every single engagement, 3 or 4 tanks get taken down. And it takes a while to really rebuild that, and Dolan, this isn't the strongest position that he has.
Yeah, and Caleb is already ready for another round, and yeah, as you said, this army is getting smaller every time.
It really is. We have a transition into Thors, by the way, which I don't know how well they're going to do. Again, we don't really have Skyzorg or anything like that. We still have just Lingbane, Roach Ravager, so I'm sure Caleb is happy to see the Thors. Sometimes it can be more difficult to push into these tanks. On top of that, there's no SimCity either. There are no bunkers. There are no even depots to help make it that much more awkward for the Lingbane to get their surrounds.
Yeah, the Lynx come even from behind, trying to snipe those tanks as the Ravagers are raining buys from the front, and Banelings are rolling in as well, and this is looking pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, the Nexus is going to fall with the Rain of Piles. Oh, it was just enough to take down that CC.
The Nexus?
Planetary. Meanwhile, oh god, Dolan, I don't know if this is the fight you want to take in a blink of an eye. What, 6 Cyclones just got taken out?
Yeah, they did not fight very well versus the Ravagers, and once again, this base is destroyed, and like Dolan has to retake his 4th, while Caleb is pretty free from harassment, just taking more and more bases on his side of the map.
Yeah, personally, I'm really impressed with how Caleb is playing. Especially after the first game, I was like, you know, is he washed, right? Like, it's been a while since I've seen Caleb play. Like, how can he really contend with a player of the caliber of Dolan? But we can see, once Caleb is no longer being harassed, once he has hit that ideal drone count, he has full control of the map. His creep spread has been insane. His control has been really good as well. You could argue, is he tunnel visioning too much on Lingbane Roach Ravager? I mean, clearly it's working. Like, clearly exactly. he's having a great time here.
Yeah, and he's rolling into that 3rd base once again, forcing it to lift off. So there's not a lot of mining of Dolan's side.
Yeah, exactly. Now Dolan knocked down to 3 base economy. I say 3 base, but the main is mined out, actually mined out. The natural is slowly being mined out as well. Dolan just doesn't really have any money left.
Yeah, this is arguably like 1.5 base of economy, because as we said, like most of the action is happening in this 4 base as it's being like contested again and again. So it's really struggling for resources.
Yeah, I do think that the nail in the coffin would be Broodlords at the moment, just because the anti-air is literally 3 Thors. But like,
there's so many tanks though.
But at the same time, like Caleb, he is so rich, like he can just keep hammering at this location time and time and time again. This trade honestly isn't too efficient. There's a lot of tanks here. Oh, and all these Ravagers are, the majority of them are going to get cleaned up. Oof.
I mean, they are, but there's only 1 Thor left, and actually most of the tank army was also destroyed, so if now Caleb remaxes, he may be able to take like this base.
Yeah, like, was this worth it? Maybe.
Maybe,
Oh god.
potentially.
Yeah, Caleb is spending his bank to re-max, and technically he could do that again. And if he does do it again, he could maybe break this location. Maybe though, like, if he keeps this up, there is still a chance that Dolan could, like, maybe turtle well enough to come back. As unlikely as it sounds.
Yeah, it's like a very, very, very important moment that's sometimes very hard to catch. It's the moment where you have to stop attacking because, like, every trade is a little less efficient, and at some point, like, the tables can turn, and you have to be very careful about not tunnel visioning too much on attacking.
Yeah.
But once again, Caleb is doing damage at the form.
I think this is the most important part. Like, Caleb, he can keep doing this because he keeps taking down this third base, because Dolan is still stuck on one base economy. So it's still an okay thing to do. We can see Dolan's trying to expand here on the low ground. Creep is basically at this point already. It's
There's even a link denying the CC from landing.
Yeah, oh god. You just can't really get another base up and running. Meanwhile, the roaches rotate around here towards the third base. It's already on fire. It could get taken down. Thankfully, though, there aren't any Ravagers, so if it does get lifted up, it will be safe.
Yes, indeed. And now Dolan has to defend both locations at once because he's not sure if Caleb is not gonna attack at that fourth again.
Oh boy. I mean, thankfully, Dolan, he does reposition his tanks to also cover this base, but this also means that he's spreading himself a little bit thin. We saw that he had literally every single one of his tanks here at the fourth base, and he was barely able to hold on. Now that he's trying to defend two locations at once, like, Caleb could see weakness somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we see it as we see everything on the map that, like, Caleb is actually not planning to attack that other base right now, but Dolan doesn't know that. He doesn't have that vision, so he has to make sure that both of the bases are defended.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, like, this third keeps getting harassed. You know, he has to stop that.
Yeah.
Oh god, he has to do whatever he can to put a stop to it, and we'll see how things will go because he is slowly stabilizing. But the big difference is that finally we have Vipers out for Caleb. The Hive Tech is finally coming into play. He will be able to dive in, and Blinding Cloud, is there anything to stop the Vipers? Again, there are a handful of Thors, but at the moment only 3, and if they're not where they need to be, the Vipers are going to reign supreme.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to patrol the area, but I mean, this is quite a long distance to walk for a Thor, so this is very risky.
Yeah. Oh god. I'm really worried that we've hit that point where Caleb has just been trading too inefficiently. Again, we still don't see a Greater Spire. We still just see +2 air carapace on the way. Like, Dolan is slowly catching up in supply.
I feel like Caleb maybe even gave him a bit too much time because he's been massing up the army for a while now and kind of like stopped the pressure on the bases of the Terran, and now he's starting to like get a pretty solid position.
Yeah, but here we go. The Vipers are out. What is the plan? Are we going to see some Blinding Clouds or some Yoinks instead? Up.
And the turret actually stops them behind, but now the Zerg army rolls in.
Yeah, Blinding Clouds do cover the majority of the tanks covering this planetary. Looks like the planetary will fall once again, just knocking Dolan down to less than 1 base economy.
Yeah, and that is nice, but this time Dolan actually has a big army already made, and he's gonna move with it to the other side of the map.
He's all in. It's time to go. It's time to push out across the map with everything you have. Looking at the units tab, we have 16 tanks and 7 Thors. Let's go, papi, let's go!
Yeah, he's even defending this harassment by the roaches on this side, and he's still moving the main army to the front.
Bring everything you can, Dolan! Oh my god. Meanwhile, we see a mass siege here in the middle of the map. Roach Ravager is not going to cut it. It's all falling here for Caleb.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate that the Hellbats ran straight into the roaches while the rest of the army was still in the choke, but there is still so many tanks here that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Those reinforcing tanks are on the way as well. Dolan has so much army supply right now, and what is there to stop him? Still just Lingbane, Roach Ravager. The Viper did regenerate all of its energy, so it can come into play. We could see some more Blinding Clouds, and I feel like they're going to be pretty necessary if Caleb wants to hold.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at this army. This is such a massive mech army. You can't just engage with roaches into that.
Yeah, Caleb is setting up for a mass surround. The Viper gets zoned out, does take a massive shot to the face, and here we go. We see the surround. He's going for it.
Yeah, it's a full surround, but I'm not sure if it can actually brace through all of these tanks, but it looks like he will. Just barely, but the Thors are still standing.
Yeah, the tanks get reset. The blinding clouds again were pretty crucial. The only things remaining are these Thors in a single tank, and it looks like Dolan doesn't want to keep going. He has no workers left. It was a Hail Mary play. He was all in, and it just barely was not enough.
Yeah, it looks like the Swarm is just gonna catch up with the Source. Very nice position with the choke point, but still, they will be dealt with eventually. And as you said, like Dolan has nothing to get back to, so GG is called.
GG, well played. Caleb fights back. We were a little bit afraid that he was he was gonna throw away his lead, but no, he remains solid, and we go to the ace match. Oh, what a game.
What a game indeed. Very nice plays from both sides. Very like there was like just a proper macro game, no like tricky stuff this time.
Yeah. I was getting really concerned. I was getting some PTSD of my own ladder games, but no, Caleb is far better than that. He doesn't let it slip away, and boom, we are getting into game number 3.
Indeed we are. As soon as Caleb gets some water, you don't want to get dehydrated, so make sure you also have the water.
Let's go. Don't forget to hydrate your hydras, everyone. Stretch your roaches. Make sure you a posture check as well. No slouching in the chat.
What do you mean no slouching? I've been sitting like the gremlin the whole time.
No, Kuro, please.
Almost.
Oh god. I'm just catching up on on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, I like that we've been having one of the other qualified players here, Binsky, has been commenting on Caleb's performance.
Yeah. Shout out to Binsky.
Also known as Spaghetti.
See. We were lucky enough to cast him in qualifier number 1, and he is already ready and waiting in the closed qualifier. Massive shout out to Binsky.
Yep.
Oh boy. And as we've been in this relatively long series, I guess we have a couple of other updates. I can see now why Katz wanted to watch. Katz is waiting for the winner of this series in the next round.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but I'm also pretty sure that's especially that makes it where people wouldn't want that.
That makes it even worse, I feel.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, if he's like, hey, can I just sit in the lobby and watch the players play while I'm waiting for the winner? It's like, that's a little bit sus. Oh god.
That's not something you should do, Katz.
Yeah.
You should know better.
Yeah.
I know that this is like all fun, and like I understand, like everybody is friends here, and like obviously like everybody like knows each other, so it's not like they're gonna be too upset about it or something. It's not about upsetness. It's more about like keeping the competition fair. Okay, just keep it fair.
Oh boy.
But anyway, we have our yellow Terran player representing Team Super. It is none other than Dolan.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have his opponent, the blue Zerg player himself, currently teamless, but fighting back in this series. It is CalebAracous.
So I like how Asher is calling you out in the chat.
Oh. I thought ZV Mech unwinnable, mate. Yo, Dolan, he's just losing for the narrative, okay?
Yeah, Vesterians do, Kappa.
Oh god. Here we go. We made it. I kind of go on.
Also, I like the way you're thinking. My name is Emil. Nura SCV strat is this game for sure. Yes. Let's count it.
No, don't do it, Caleb. Don't do it.
I mean, I don't think he should. I still think it would be funny though.
Yeah. Shaking my head, shaking my head. Oh boy. Look, we want Caleb to win, okay? Like,
Do we want that?
true, we want an entertaining game. I guess that's what we really want.
I mean, we kind of want both, you know? We want the better player to win. What is better in NA terms? I don't know.
True. You gotta go full clown, mate. You gotta go full fiesta if you want to excel in NA. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. Again, like once again in the early game, Dolan did come out ahead. In game number 2, like he did such a great job harassing his opponent, getting drone kills, getting in with his Hellions, getting in with his BCs. But over time, and I do think that a lot of it is because of the map, because it is Glittering Ashes, Caleb was able to kind of stem the bleeding. He was able to just stop hemorrhaging so much, eventually stabilize, and yeah, once he was in control, like he never let it go. Like it was really well done. I was very impressed.
Yeah, very nice. And we see how it turns out this time. I'm more interested actually what Dolan is gonna come up with, because both games he showed us a completely different build, like both like different side. Oh, the Reaper actually goes down. But yeah, we saw different sides of the terrain each game, and I wonder what he's gonna opt for in the third one.
True. I mean, we didn't get to see too much in game 1, but it was like, you know, it was a very strong bio push in game 1. Game 2, he went full mech instead. What do we have in store for us in game 3? As once again, we see a 1-1-1. We do see the tech lab on that rack, so we could potentially see a switch, but this time Caleb's Overlord will survive, and this time he will be able to scout.
Or he should anyway. I mean, there is that Marine patrolling on the edge, and it may catch the Overlord, but it may not do it in time.
Yeah, I mean, one Marine's DPS isn't that high, so it's most likely not going to be able to stop the scout. What's important, though, is the angle. If you remember in game number 1, he came in from, like, behind the main base, so because of that, he was able to see, kind of your typical, like, hidden location, right? The Overlord is going to go in, he's going to see the tech lab. Like, this looks, for all intents and purposes, I was going to say, like, BC, but I guess it looks like Banshee.
Yeah, he's even getting the cloak just to fake it out completely, but no, this is once again the Liberator, just as in game 1.
There we go. Overlord does get sniped. He is going to be getting these spores ready for Banshees. Little does he know, it is a Liberator.
I mean, to be fair, the spores are useful against Liberators too, so I feel like it's not like an awful like mind game. Like it's like, well, you got these spores anyway. It's just that like you have to reposition them slightly.
Yeah. But I mean, you say slightly. We saw in the last game, like if you don't reposition it well enough, like Liberator still gets a lot of damage done.
I feel like there's less the scouting problem and more just like attention span problem.
Yeah. Definitely. Speaking of, here we go. Liberator goes into the main base. At the same time, Hellions are getting set up to dive straight into the natural.
Oh. There's a wall at the natural though, which limits the access for Hellions, which will already deny most of the harassment on this side. Yeah. But we have to be careful about the Liberator.
I mean, the Liberator is trying to deal some damage. He does force a lot of lost mining time, but this time Caleb is on top of things. He will not be done dirty. 2 games in 1 series. He defends against both Hellions and Libs.
It really does seem like every game Caleb is playing a little bit better. It looks like he's kind of like warming up.
Yeah. Very, very well done here by Caleb. You know, we're not going to see him being pulled apart again, not this time, and a much, much cleaner early game.
Yeah, very nicely done for the Zerg.
Meanwhile, back at home, you know, we do have Dolan. He's still, you know, doing Terran things, right? He is going Biotank. We do see 1-1 on the way, 3CC on the way. What's important as well is that Dolan may not have won the game here and now, but he did keep all these Hellions alive. He didn't try to force his way in. Like, he respected the defenses of Caleb, and he never overextended. Because of that, he still has the threat of the Hellions here, and he can still keep the creep at bay.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a nice asset to have to be able to jump in with these Hellions later at the game. I mean, it definitely would be nice if they did get some damage, but at the very least, they will keep Caleb on his toes.
Yeah, they will, I also, like, we don't see it too often, but I mean, they can even come into play when it comes to the push with 1-1. Armory is being thrown down, so when the buyer does push out, we could even see some Hellbats, just to help soak some damage, just to help keep the Banelings, away from the Marines.
Yeah, that definitely sounds pretty helpful. As once again, Caleb is going for roaches, which is nice versus the Hellions, definitely.
Yeah.
Not sure about the Marines though.
I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, he didn't really get to scout, or get a follow-up scout, I should say, so he's a little bit in the dark. But roaches don't scale amazingly well against bio tank. In the mid game, they're still okay. You know, they still have plenty of value.
Yeah.
They can still bile down tanks. They can still trade okay against Marines. But it can be a little bit difficult to really make use of them.
Yeah, and one queen already falls down as it's a little bit too far out of the base. But at the very least, the queens do alarm Caleb to the attack that is coming.
Yeah, exactly. All the lings do get shaved off, but the roaches will be able to slowly pick away at these Hellbats. Nice macro there. Hot pickup. We'll be able to save every single one of these Hellbats. What do we have on the low ground? We have 2 tanks, and oh god, Dolan has to make sure the roaches, the Ravagers, they don't get close enough to buy them down.
These Marines are actually starting to fall down. The tanks are still standing, but now the buys are raining down.
Yeah, exactly. Not the best spiles. He will get 1 tank, but only 1 tank. He does get forced back. With only 4 Ravagers, it's going to be difficult to really break through the defenses here, but he's going to keep going. He is making another wave of roaches.
And I do think he should, because taking down the tank is really weakening the defense here. There is now a replacement, so it will be a little bit harder, but I think he can do some damage.
Oh yeah, he definitely could. You know, this third base location is a little bit open, especially if you take down these rocks. Like, there are definitely multiple angles of attack. But Caleb backs off and he starts droning again. For a while there, he was hitting with only 66 workers, but now he is trying to tech up, not just drone up, but also go into Hydras.
Yeah, and he is denying this drop here, so that's also very nice. No major damage done by the Marines here.
Yeah, not yet. He's just keeping the Zerg player busy. On top of that, he's also scouting the the 4th base, and confirming the drone count. You've taken your gases. You're droning up. I know that you're teching up as well. We see a scan to confirm, and he sees lurkers are going to be on the way.
Yes, indeed. The transition is coming, but the Terran decides to attack right now to make sure it does not come to fruition.
Exactly. Caleb may be up in supply, but again, that is inflated supply because of all of these roaches. No, the tank! The first tank, no!
The first tank actually doesn't manage to siege, and it just gets sniped. The second one gets piled down, and now the Marines are just moving in without the backup.
Yeah, I don't blame Dolan. He wants to hit before lurkers. He wants to end the game before he has to deal with lurkers with the Zerg siege unit. Can he do it? He already lost 2 of his tanks. That's a lot of firepower already. And the longer this goes on, the more he has to prepare himself to get into Ghost, to get into a better answer to Hydra Lurker.
It was a little fun in both of them destroying the rocks, and now the Marines once again are moving forward. I'm not sure if Dolan isn't ever overextending a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was kind of a desperation push. He's going to be forced back, though. He cannot break through the wall of Zerg, the wall of roaches. And now he's got to be thinking about the late game. Biotank is okay, but you need something more here. You know, where's the Ghost Academy? Maybe a switch into Liberators. Something else, because the Hive, it's coming.
Yes, it is. And once again, he's trying to push out with this bio tank. The roaches are ready. Is it enough to defend? It may be.
We'll see. I mean, again, it's just Roach Hydra. Again, we still don't have any lurkers, so there's still a chance here for Dolan to force his way through.
Yeah, there are 5 tanks right now, so that's quite a force against all of these roaches. And they are falling to Marines as well.
Oh my god, Caleb tries to push up the ramp, but no, he cannot. He does get bowed down in the process. Here we go, the first 3 lurkers are on the way, but they're honestly looking a little bit exposed.
Yeah, they're right on the front. One of them is actually in danger, but I do think they will finish.
The target fire, he's the nice all 3!
Yeah, Alfred gets sniped by Dolan, and now this army is getting really small.
Oh my god, let's go. Dolan now up in supply. The tanks are here. The rally is real. He will not let his opponent get into lurkers. It will not happen.
Yeah, just Ravagers are being morphed now, and like these Hydras are actually needed for defense, so they don't even have the time to morph into lurkers.
They cannot. The leapfrog of tanks is real. The base is going to fall. Caleb, he's going to try and hold on to his hatchery. He's trying to pull everything he has, but it is not going to be enough.
Yeah, now the Marauders mostly are just moving in, and GG is called as Dolan takes the series.
GG, well played. Dolan does it. He fights back. He may have struggled a little bit with mech on Glittering Ashes, but here on Berlingrad, he pushes out before he allows any kind of hive tech units out on the map. And GG.
Yeah, GG. Once again, really great series from both of our players. It's a bit unfortunate that Caleb couldn't make it, because that means he is eliminated from this season of DreamHack. He can still go for the open bracket like offline if he wants to, but obviously most players probably will not choose that.
Yeah. Oh god, that was a pretty intense game. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Dolan didn't make it like right there and then, like it could have been like really difficult for him.
Oh boy. I mean, especially because he just wasn't really set up for it. Like, Dolan never had any intentions for the game going on longer. I was really worried when his first push kind of failed, you know, where he lost like his two tanks, like essentially at the start of the fight. Oh god.
And he wasn't transitioning after that.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like he just kept going and just hammered his way home. You could argue that maybe Caleb should have been a little bit more willing to give that base up. I guess he didn't really know how committed his opponent was. And you could also argue that maybe those lurkers were being morphed in a very exposed position, you know? Not the best place for them.
I feel like that was really an important detail where he definitely could have morphed this lurker a bit more to the back where they wouldn't be in direct danger from all of that bio firing. But I mean, it's hard to say right now how much it would have mattered in the end.
Yeah. It is hard to say, because even if those three lurkers finished and even if they burrowed, it's possible that Dolan had enough momentum anyway to get on top of them. Or maybe he can't push into that fourth base. He backs off. He gets the fifth instead. Because if you remember, there was a hatchery towards the north. Maybe the game goes on from there, but maybe the Zerg player is contained. It's hard to say how that would have played out. But regardless, GG. Well played.
Yeah. GG to Dolan as he moves on to face Cats in what I believe may be the qualifier match. No, not yet. Not yet. We're only in round of 16.